Well, today we're here to launch the Garage Sale Trail in conjunction with Sunshine Coast's involvement in this year's program. Garage Sale Trail was first started in May 2010 in Bondi Beach. Back then it was really just an idea we had to try and create some awareness around the illegal dumping problem we have locally, and really to try and promote reuse on a community-wide scale with a view to ultimately trying to reduce waste to landfill. It was just one of those things that really took on a life of its own. It was never meant to be anything more than something that happened locally in a very much grassroots kind of a way. In that first campaign, we worked with our local council, Waverley Council. It resulted in about 126 sales on the day. And in the week that followed, we were just incredibly humbled to receive lots of lovely messages from the people that were involved saying, I decluttered all this stuff, I made all this money. In that first campaign, I think the average amount of money made was around the $500-600 mark, so not a bad day's earnings. But for us, it was these stories that people seemed to be sharing, saying, I've lived in the same street for years and years but never got to know my neighbours, but we became acquainted through the day. That really resonated. And we sort of thought, well, if that was the only outcome, that would have made it all worthwhile. Before we knew it, some local residents had put it forward for a few awards, and it picked up a few relatively prestigious awards in a short amount of time. I think the Green Globe Award, Community Contribution of the Year, amongst a bunch of others. And we just thought, well, the potential to create really significant positive impacts if brought to life on a bigger scale was so great that we should have a good old Aussie crack at doing so. In the following May 2011, we worked with about 14 councils around Australia. It resulted in about 1,600 sales happening on the one day simultaneously, and an estimated 60,000 people participating around the nation. Later that year, an interesting thing happened. We got a phone call from some people that said they were calling from London. They were calling from the International Green Awards, and we thought it was a prank and hung up on them probably two or three times. But as it ends up, they're quite legitimate, and they're kind of like the Oscars of sustainability. And they were saying, you're a finalist in our awards, we recommend you try and make your way over here to participate in the ceremony. I was fortunate to get over there, and we won this award, and it opened these doors in places you'd never think you'd find yourself. Last year, I think I spent about 7 weeks in London, and I had the good fortune to present the program at places like number 10 Downing Street, at the Royal Palace at St James's Palace, Clarence House, talking about garage sales, which is somewhat unlikely.
But it'd be pretty good for your garage sale, wouldn't it?
I think
it'd be a tremendous garage sale. You'd probably get a few turnout.
I think you're right. I think there'd be lots of interest in that one. We've since been fortunate to secure some seed funding from a great organisation in the UK called Nesta. It's the National Endowment for Science, Technology and the Arts, to develop develop the program across the UK with a view to launching it sometime in 2014. This year, 2013, our target was to work with about 70 councils. We've got 112 signed up to the program, and we anticipate there'll be somewhere around 5,000 to 6,000 garage sales, representing about 15,000 to 18,000 sellers on the day.
And it now gives me great pleasure to officially launch the innovative program for the Sunshine Coast in 2013. The National Garage Sale Trail is well and truly open. Thanks very much. Sunshine Coast Regional Council has been one of the first councils to agree to participate, and indeed welcome the opportunity to participate.
Here on the Sunshine Coast at the minute, there are, I think it's about 68 registered sellers at the minute, representing a whole breadth of different types of stakeholders from within the community. We have a really high level of participation from within the community group sector, from a number of schools. So it's certainly building really well, and we take our hats off to the people of the Sunshine Coast for really getting behind the initiative.
This is all about encouraging our residents who've got items they no longer need to have a garage sale and on-sell them to people who may be able to use it. The alternative is, regrettably, a lot of this material ends up going into landfill.
Getting involved in Garage Sale Trail is very simple for sellers and buyers. The program is organised via a centralised website. That's garagesaletrail.com.au. Interested sellers can go to the site and register their sale for free. For buyers, can go to the website and search for items or garage sales that are happening locally. We really encourage sellers to get creative with their sales and to have a bit of fun. We've seen some really interesting sales registered so far this year, and There's a gentleman down the road that's listed a Star Wars sale. He's selling off 3,000 Star Wars figures that he's collected over the last 20 years. There's a sale registered in Brisbane called the Almost Deceased Estate. There's a couple of Frenchies that have set up a sale called Crap and Crepes, and they're making fresh crepes on the day. So, we really do encourage people to have a bit of fun outside of the obvious buying and selling activity on the day.